So however much you trust social emotional learning, you need to trust social emotional learning less. Jennifer did a great job. That word problem, I don't want to keep talking about it. I'm just struck by how good of an example that is about how they will transform an innocuous piece of curriculum into a political discussion by using little keywords or key topics like mom and dad, something that seems perfectly normal to people, to dredge up a political discussion out of the kids.
And it changed the way that we taught children. It changed it because it shifted from a traditional teaching method to what is called a culturally responsive teaching method. And again, I want everyone, even if you're listening from a different state, to understand this is happening in your state. This is in every state Department of Education. You can look up culturally responsive teaching or cultural competence. You will find it. But the problem is a lot of people didn't understand what that meant. So culturally responsive teaching is supposed to be used all day, every day in your children's life. So in every subject area, they are supposed to be teaching culturally responsive. But I'm going to give you something that we're all probably familiar with in this room. Okay, pretend you're in second grade for a minute, right? That would be nice. Not so much worry in the world. But this is a typical math problem that you might hear. Okay, Johnny was on the way to an amusement park with his mom and dad. The park was a total of 50 miles away. They already drove 20 miles. How many more miles do they need to drive? Doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But this is what parents can't put their finger on. This is what you can't grab and say, why are you doing this? Because it's the method that they have taught these teachers to use. It's what culturally responsive teaching is. And so when you go to the school and you look at the curriculum's, a lot of times they'll let you see the curriculum. It's you can't pick it out because you can't pick out this. So I'm teaching this, I give the kids this problem, and if I was a culturally responsive teacher, I would say something like, let's not worry about the answer right now. How many of you have been to an amusement park? Okay. And then you have these very young children. Of course, they want to tell you, right? So you have maybe half of them raise their hand. They've been to an amusement park. Okay. And then you have children that don't. Okay. And then you say, well, okay, I see some of you went, but I also see that some of you haven't went. So what reasons would there be that some kids haven't been to an amusement park? You would have some child that would say, because they throw up on the rides, right? So they want to share everything. Sure, some kids don't like to go to the amusement park. They don't want to go. They're afraid of the rides. What's another reason? Why? Culturally responsive teaching exploits the emotions of these children and life experiences to push this idea of privilege and oppression. Okay? And so I would say, what's another reason? And then you keep going until you get one of these children to say, some people can't afford it. Some people can't afford it. That's right. Some people can't afford to go to a music park. So, you know, if you had the power, what would you do, class? What would you do to fix that? Now you're talking about very young children. What are they going to say? Make it free. Make it free. Here's another way. Maybe the teacher doesn't go that route. You can make it culturally responsive teaching like this. Johnny was going to a music park with his mom and dad. That's interesting. Do all families have a mom and a dad? I know a lot of families have mom and dad, but if you know of different families that have different, makeups, raise your hand and tell me about them. You have a child. Well, I live just with my mom. My parents are divorced. Okay? You have a child that says, well, I have a mom and dad, but down the road I have, there's two moms, right? Now, there's your entry point. If you're a culturally responsive teacher, and this is your agenda, is to manipulate the children, there's your entry point. Now you can have this conversation with young children. That's what culturally responsive teaching is. And again, you can